I haven't gotten high in school very often, and anyone who has gotten high in school would know why. It always sounds like a good idea at first, but in practice, it can be so goddamn scary. Now, this story isn't just about me getting high, but instead, the whole squad was smoking in class. And under those circumstances in mind, you know shit had to have gone down, and it did. So it was the first day back to school from summer break, and it was the morning of that day before the classes had started. As the nature of the first day of school goes, I was pissed off, and so was my boy Roderick, the same guy from the mushroom story. We were pissed we had to be back in this place, but it also was sick to see everyone I didn't see over the summer. So we were greeting everyone in the grade, catching up in the hallways, when none other than the man himself, Kevin, comes through the doors, beelines straight to the two of us, and whispers in our ears, "Bro, meet me in the handicapped stall real quick. I got something to tell you." Which, may I add, is an insane way to greet someone on the first day back from summer break, but we followed him into the bathroom to see what was up. As we walked in, Kevin is standing on the toilet like he is about to give a speech to us and says, "Guys, none of the three of us want to be here. Wouldn't you guys agree?" And we nodded our heads in agreement. "Then why don't we go somewhere else?" And this guy pulls out not just one, but 3 different wax pens, and our mouths are agape. Keep in mind, I rarely smoked at this time, so to see not just one, but 3 wax pens that this dude had brought into the school was the craziest thing I had ever witnessed. I was like, no way we're smoking right here and right now. And Kevin said, "Not yet. See, I've been dreading the first day of school for a long time now, so I've thought up a way to make it a little more interesting. I want to play a game. We each carry a pen on us for the entirety of the day. Every time somebody says some dumb shit, you have to take a hit. And if you don't get caught all day, you get to keep the pen. But if you get caught, you owe me $50. In one moment, I was going about my ordinary day in school, and in the next, I'm choosing which pill I'm gonna take, and you know I took the green pill, and so did Roderick. I won't lie, the speech had us getting hyped in this bathroom stall. If anyone was in the bathroom at the time, I feel like they probably would have gotten the wrong idea. But anyways, we had to plan our day. We all brought out our schedules to see which classes we shared. I shared Spanish with Roderick, math I was with both, English I was alone for, in study hall I had the two of them again. But the bell rang and me and Roderick headed over to Spanish and departed from Kevin. As we walked into the classroom, we agreed we wouldn't sit next to each other, so if one person came down, the other wouldn't come down with them. And it would be easier to stay undercover, so we both sat in the back corners of the class. The class started and the teachers were going over the syllabus when this kid raised his hand and asked, "When we get our assignments, do you want our names in English or Spanish?" Me and Roderick just stared at each other from across the class after that. We knew what we had to do. As soon as the teacher turned around to the whiteboard, we took a hit, but then she turned around and we just had to hold in the smoke until she turned around again. And once I did, I started coughing loud. I couldn't hold it in that long. So I crossed my arms and put my head down, and no one thought anything of it, but it was close. The class went on and we got out of that one safe, although those wax pens, if you've ever smoked them before, hit hard. So even though I only took one hit, I was already feeling it as we walked to math. We got to the class first, and as Kevin walked in, he looked so fucked up. I was like, "Bro, what happened to you?" And all he replied with was, "It was Liam, bro." And then just took a seat before I could respond. Lord have mercy on his soul. Let me tell you, math was a dreadful class to get through. Not because of the challenge. We didn't even have to smoke once during this period. It was just the munchies, bro. Lunch was the next period, and I was fiending for that school lunch. The most entertaining thing that happened to that class was that I sat across from Kevin, staring him straight on, and he just kept nodding out of existence and coming back. This guy was on another planet, and it was only 10 in the morning. Once lunch came, I spent like $20 on snacks, but they were all out of the vending machine. which was a process I did not have the patience for. Waiting for the food to come down just felt like an eternity. The squad linked up and I tried to get more information on what happened to Kevin during first period. Can you elaborate on what happened to you earlier, bro? Liam, bro, he had to introduce himself and he said he likes kids. He didn't realize how bad that sounded, bro. But he really said it. And to be honest, me and Roderick, we just decided to take a hit right there after hearing that out of respect for what he had gone through. Once the bell rang, I started stressing because my next class was alone. I lost my supports and I had to face English class like a real stoic man. I sat down. I don't remember exactly what the question was, but I do know that some kid said something that I had to smoke to. So I had to take a hit. Then the guy next to me leans over and looks into my eyes and just nods. I was sitting next to the school stoner Bradley. Bradley saw this and asked, "Yo, can I get one, bro?" So respectfully, I handed him the pen and with no remorse for his own life proceeded to blow it straight into the air, and of course the teacher noticed and walked over. I thought it was all over for me in this moment, but he just ended up sending Bradley to the office. But the thing is that he still had my pen on him when he left. This guy, 200 IQ, outplayed me and purposefully got sent to the office so he could take the pen for himself. I don't know if that was actually his plan, but that's just what it seemed like to me. Once English ended, I walked into study hall, and this part was the hardest part of the challenge to overcome. If you've had study hall before, you know how silent the class is. So I'm trying to tell these two how I got my pen stolen, but I'm so high I cannot control how loud I'm being, and I just can't communicate what happens. I guess they both deemed that to be smokable, so they both took a hit, and as they exhaled, I couldn't help but just laugh at myself, and I laughed loudly, which alerted the teacher and got Roderick and Kevin caught. But since I got my pen stolen, I got away from it. I didn't have anything on me. They got sent to the front office and I had to wait out the next hour of this class in an excruciating silence, just paranoid that somebody was gonna come after me. But at the end of the day, nothing happened of it, so I technically won the challenge and got to keep the pen. But since it got stolen, I really just got nothing. But I'm glad I won though, because if I had lost, I would have had to fork over $50 and a new pen. So I dodged a bullet there. So while I didn't get anything, at least I didn't lose. Once you enter the demon realm of young adult life, the dynamic of Halloween shifts from candy time to party time, but that is not a memo I accepted. I still wanted to go out and collect some candy booty. I didn't want any of that booty, you know what I mean? So during my freshman year of college as a dormitory resident, I had my eyes on a different prize than my colleagues. So I'm sitting in my dorm room alone on Halloween, dressed as Batman with a fire in me to make something funny happen. There's this girl that lives down the hall I kinda knew, so my plotting started with her. My awesome plan was to go to her dorm room door and trick or treat. I'd get a few laughs, maybe a piece of candy, and I'd call that a W. So I knock on the door like, "I am Justice, trick or treat." "Oh my god, you're so funny, I've got just a thing for you." She gives me a Skittles bag like, "Don't eat too many." But I'm just popping off. I had been living impoverished off PB&J sandwiches the past month, so this was essentially gold. Before I leave, she adds, "I'm having a little get together in a minute, so if you want to come over, you can." So I'm like, sure, I'll go over, knowing damn well I'm not going back to that place. I got my loot and that's all I wanted. I get back to my room and I'm snacking on these delights, probably watching Hunter x Hunter. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh damn, I'm really high right now. The fuck? On closer inspection, these were edible Skittles, but I mean, they hardly show it. I was like, why'd she give these to me? Honestly, I was fine with eating edibles since I didn't have anything better to do, but I just thought the situation was weird. So I go back to her room to see if she meant to give these to me, and as I knock on the door, she answers it like, "Oh my god, you came, come on in, come on in." I had forgotten she had a little get together I was invited to, and I didn't want to be rude and leave, so I went in, and when I saw this place, this was not how I imagined her little get together at all. It had to have been some kind of sorority party party because there was like 10 girls essentially wearing lingerie, and then me dressed as Batman. They were drinking, playing games, and I'm completely out of my element and pretty high. I'm a married man. I can't be put in situations like this. So I'm like, yo, this party is epic. I'm gonna go get some water. I fill up my glass and just sit at the kitchen counter alone, trying to think of the quickest way to get out of here. I text the big man Adam to come to the door and get me out of here. I give him the room number and I say to just open the door and ask for Batman. But I didn't get a moment to see if he replied because this girl comes up to me and sits at the counter. Hey, what are you doing over here? And this is when I made a decision I look back on as highly questionable. I was new to college and I didn't want to taint my name so soon and be known as the Batman guy that sat alone at the party. So what I do is I go full Batman mode and protect my identity by speaking like Batman. I'm just thinking about criminals, you know. Haha, that's funny. You should come over and play games with us. It may have not been the best decision, but I ate a lot of those Skittles and these people were drunk enough I could speak like Batman all I want without repercussions. This girl takes my arm, pulls me over to a beer pong setup and hands me a ball. I didn't want to drink. I'm already zooted beyond belief. So I'm aiming between the cups so that the ball just hits the edge and bounces away. And this whole time, I'm just hoping that Adam got my text and would come through the door and save me. The more I miss, the more these people are chanting for me to get a ball in. Eventually, one of the balls land. I gotta drink it, and they're chanting for me to get more. So I do one more, and then they chant again for me to do one more. They just don't want me to stop drinking and getting these balls in the cups. I realized that this is just gonna keep happening forever, and I can't keep this up anymore. So I used the tried and true stalling method. I need to go to the bathroom. I check my phone to see if Adam's on the way, and I stand in this bathroom for like 5 minutes until I got out because I don't want to be in there for a suspiciously long time. I walk out and see the girl that invited me here. I walk up to her and I'm like, yo, did you know those Skittles were edibles? Yeah, I know you like weed, so I thought you'd like that. Huh. I guess that makes sense. Then all of a sudden, the door busts open. Adam is dressed as an Among Us and shouts, I need Batman! I'm like, duty calls. And the two of us sprint out of the party and back to my room laughing the entire way. Bruce Wayne was safe and back in the Batcave and could watch anime all he wanted without the distraction of sorority girls. I repaid Adam by giving him the rest of my Skittles and I passed out into a weed coma. Alright, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye! I am a freak of nature. I'm one of those psychotic monsters that just get up at 5:30 a.m., go to the gym for an hour, and when I get home, I just think about how much I want to be back at the gym for the rest of the day. I do this like 6 times per week, which can get to be a rigorous schedule, and after a while, can lead to some real burnout. And if burnout is ever affecting you too hard, well, boy, do I have something for you. Going to the gym high can be such a mixed bag, depending on how high you are. Too high and you're just a slug that can't do anything. When you're not high enough, you just don't feel any different. But when you're just high enough, you feel like you have full control of every muscle fiber contraction in your body. This is when you're in the beast mode. Your focus is more acute than it has ever been in your life. By the time the next day comes, you can't get out of your bed. You just can't, you can't walk. Now, I've got a story that involves me and 2 of my good buddies, Cole and Roman. We all went to the gym high together. We smoked our weed, we dry scooped our pre-workout, we were all in the zone, cracked, completely accepting of the physical torment we were about to put our bodies through. We were at the highest level of human consciousness at this moment. We had reached full enlightenment. It was pull day, which means we had to work our biceps, our backs, and our forearms. At least that's what we planned on doing. So naturally, the first place you go is the pull-up bar to get some pull-ups in. When we got to the bar, Cole thought up a great idea. All right, guys, so I'm gonna do some pull-ups. Once I get off, someone else gets right on. When they get off, the next person gets on, and then it's back to me. We do this until we can't anymore, and the person that backs out last loses. So you'd think this wouldn't be very very high stakes because there's no actual penalty besides losing. As soon as he mentioned this, I knew some real shit was about to go down at this pull-up bar because I just know these guys so well. You see, this little trio of friendship that we all have has been going on for about a decade now. If you've seen One Piece, it's like Luffy, Ace, and Sabo. The three of us are the most competitive fucks that I know. We had our pride on the line here. Cole jumps up and bangs out about 12 pull-ups. I jump on, I do about the same myself, and so does Roman. The second time around, we're a little weaker, but we're still going strong. We each can get out about like 6 to 8 pull-ups. Third time around, we're starting to get a little gassed. There's really no time for breaks between these sets, so we all can probably get around 3 or 4 at this time. After that, we're only getting 2 pull-ups in each for a few times around, and we add it all up, and we've done about 60 pull-ups at this time between the three of us. At this point, we are fried. All right, guys, we gotta make it to 100. We gotta make it to 100 pull-ups. We're almost there. We're at 60. We gotta push through. We can only do a single pull-up each before we pass it on to the next person at this point. So the time for resting has shrunken to the absolute minimum it can before somebody has to tap out. After an excruciating amount of pull-ups, we finally make it to 100 on Cole's turn. But then he stays on the bar. And after only doing a single pull-up per turn for the past like 5 turns, he looks within himself and he finds the monster. He builds enough strength to bang out 2 pull-ups in 1 turn, putting us at a total of 101 pull-ups. All right, guys, we can't just leave it at 101. We gotta go to 110 pull-ups. At this point, we can't even do pull-ups completely. We just jump up and slowly go down, and then 110 comes. And by the time it does, whoever's on the bar just does another one and brings it to 111. And then we do that all the way to 120, and then we have to go to 130, and then that goes all the way up until in total we had completed 203 total pull-ups between the three of us. This was the limit. We were all done at this point until we went to the dips, and then the whole thing started over again until we did 250 consecutive dips, and then we all proceeded to fucking die. I had never felt a workout this much in my life, and we went home only having done 2 exercises. And you know we had to get that post-workout Chipotle. When it's just right, weed just brings out the demon in me at the gym. Anyways, you better go to the gym right goddamn now. Bye-bye. What's up, boys? Got another video here at the end. Once again, is a thank you because we got 20,000 subscribers. It's been a long time coming to get to this point. Took us about 12 hours since the last thank you for 10K. So here's another one. Subscribe. I've mentioned how getting high at school can be stressful, but getting high at work is just fucked. I mean, at school you just have to be quiet and keep your head down and hope nobody notices. At work you actually have to do work, so the difficulty and the risk factors are way higher in my opinion, especially if you're working in some kind of retail job, because then you got to communicate with other human beings. In my case, I served my time as an honorary Safeway employee, and the job made me want to kill myself. I swear, human beings were not built for the 9-to-5 minimum wage grind. These jobs will just suck the goddamn soul out of you like no other. If I didn't smoke at work, I would have gone bananas. Now, I've smoked a good few amount of times while at work, but there was one particular day where I got a little confident in my ability and smoked too much. I had an 8-hour shift ahead of me from 2 to 10, where I had to alternate each hour from sweeping and cleaning. The thing about these days is that they were by far the easiest days on the job, hence the overconfidence. I got to work, started smoking, and clocked in. And the beginning of my shift went pretty well. I was sweeping like a king. I was cleaning like a king. Eventually, the monotony got to me after an hour or so I smoked a little more. Almost instantly, I knew I smoked a little too much. I'd be going around to each of the store's little departments, forgetting if I had cleaned them or not. I'd be sweeping every other aisle without realizing I was. It was bad. Eventually, once I got to cleaning the bathroom, I just locked myself in there and sat on the toilet to collect my thoughts. Alright, I'm obviously way too high right now to do my job. What can I do about this? Well, I could eat food, but then I'd have to wait until my break. Or I could just sneak a little treat. I need to find a way to avoid work. I think letting time do its thing is the best play here. So I left the bathroom with this plan to finish my cleaning and then just hide in the break room until the next hour came and I had to sweep. As I was walking through the store, I walked by the bakery and those goddamn donuts were just enticing to me. I couldn't resist the urge to just take a donut, but I didn't think any further past that. So I grabbed the donut, but I couldn't eat it because people would see that I was eating the donut and stealing it. So quickly, I thought up the idea to just shove the donut into my pocket and then I would eat it once I got to the break room. I went on to do my job, but then I saw my manager approach me. Oh fuck, she knows I'm high, bro. She knows I'm high. She knows about the donut too. It's all over. I'm gonna lose my fucking job.
Excuse me, but Jared told me that you didn't clean the toilet.
When I had went into the bathroom earlier, I forgot to clean it, and this goddamn guy Jared narked me out. Oh my bad, I'll go and do that now. Then I had to go back to the bathroom and watch Jared teach me how to clean a toilet. I was just watching this man filled with real, unfiltered primal rage. See man, you just gotta put a little elbow grease into it just like this. Fuck you, Jared. Afterward, I went to the break room as planned and I ate this nasty donut that had been sitting in my pocket for the past 10 minutes. But my plan to hide here was successful. Once it was time to do my sweeps, I barely swept. I won't even lie, but I finished it in like 10 minutes and then I hid in the break room for the next 50. The next time I had to go to the bathroom to clean it, I was like, I really gotta clean this toilet well or else Jared is gonna come for my ass again. So what I did next was look through the storage closet for a literal product called elbow grease. I was too high to realize that elbow grease was not an actual thing. So I went over to Jared and I was like, hey bro, I can't find that elbow grease. And he just stared at me for like 3 seconds of silence. And then I saved it and went, I'm joking. And I just walked away. I still thought that elbow grease was a thing. I didn't put it together. I just was gonna go and clean it without the elbow grease. I ended up doing my little break room exploit for the rest of the day, and by the end of my shift, I was feeling sober. On my way home when I was driving, I realized, wait a minute. See man, you just gotta put a little elbow grease into it just like this. Damn. Fuck you, Jared. College dorms are terrible. I'd rather sleep on the sidewalk than be in the living conditions these places put the students through. My college is just horrible. I could go on about this for a while, but on campus, there was one dorm that was actually livable, and that's the honors dorm. I won't lie, my high school performance was not good, but during my freshman year of college, I got put into the honors dorm for weird COVID reasons, probably. But I didn't complain. I didn't choose to be born God's favorite. This was the first time I had full independence too. I mean, everyone did. This is just what you do. You smoke in the college dorm. Even the honors kids were doing it. It's crazy. So it's one of the first months of college and I'm at this little get together at some other dude's dorm. I don't know who was there. I hardly remember these people, but there was one guy that's important and that's my main man, Adam. We were smoking, drinking, doing all that, but there was hardly anything happening. It was like a 7-person get together just watching two guys play Call of Duty. So Adam and I are like, this is ass, we gotta get out of here and make something happen. So the two of us leave the function, and the thing about this dude's place is it's on a different floor of the building than we lived on. The floor of the dorms that houses the dorm gym. For COVID reasons, this gym was locked and closed, so no one could use it, but we were in the honors dorms. We thought we could use our bright little heads to figure out a way in. There were 2 doors into the gym, and we noticed a difference between the two. The part of the door with the latch had a little 1/2-inch opening on one door, while the other door had no space to work with. So we started trying different ways to open this door. One person would be on it while the other would look out. You already know, these honors kids, they would have narked if they had seen us, so we were on our toes. We were trying different ways to push this latch down so we could just open the door and get a little pump. We tried to push it down with our fingers. We tried the good old credit card trick, but nothing worked. Then Adam comes up with this genius idea. He takes out one of the laces from his shoe, throws one end around the latch, and basically has a little lasso around this thing. He pulls on it and it slides the latch down for a second before it goes back up. So we do it again, but as we pull the shoelace, we twist the knob and pull the door at the same time, and it opened. This moment was my peak. I don't think I've ever felt so accomplished and smart since. And I wasn't even the one who came up with the idea. So we get into this little dorm gym and it feels so unreal. We're all giddy, running around the place. The scary thing though is that the automated lights turned on as we walked in there. But we thought we'd be fine as long as people didn't see us through the door. Before we start using the gym, we run back to my dorm and we come back with a paper towel and some tape. We fold up the paper towel so it's thick enough to be used as a door stopper, and we put some tape around it to keep it there. So we're in the gym getting the pump of a lifetime. You could say we were too high in the gym. Shout out to myself. But after about 10 minutes, we start to hear the door open. There isn't supposed to be anyone able to get into this place. I mean, the doors were locked. And as the door opens, a janitor steps in for some reason. I don't know why he would clean this place. I mean, no one's been in here all semester, but a janitor just decides to walk in at this moment. The three of us lock eye contact for a second, and he's like, "How'd you guys get in here?" "Oh, you know, it was just unlocked, man." "Yeah, we saw the lights on and we just thought it must have opened up." He told us to get out, but I won't lie, I feel like we had a pretty convincing case on our side looking back on it. In the moment though, we didn't feel so confident. It may have been the weed talking, but we felt so paranoid that they would check the cameras or something and see us. Nothing ended up happening of it, and the little paper towel door stopper was still there, so the two of us essentially had created our own personal gym to use any time for the rest of the school year. Okay, that's the story. Bye! When I first started to smoke weed in high school, I would smoke a little too confidently. I really thought highly in my ability to hold my weed and seem like an outwardly functional person. And that overconfidence is how this story starts. Now that I think about it, overconfidence always seems to be the starting place for a lot of my stories. I think I've just got an underdeveloped frontal lobe. Anyways, me and my friends talked the day prior about doing our first wake and bake before school. So I was like, I gotta smoke weed as soon as I awake. And so I did. And I went hard this morning. My philosophy was that I had to smoke enough that it would last the entire school day. So I ripped the fattest bong rips of my life, not even before I left my bed. I got out of the bed and got to my shower, and I just stood under the water for like 20 minutes. This is where I started to think, did I smoke a little too much today? Nah, I think I'm good. I eventually got out of the shower because I started to get munchies for breakfast. You know you're gonna have a crazy day when you get the munchies for breakfast. I then proceeded to eat 3 entire bowls of peanut butter Captain Crunch. I ate so much, I felt pregnant. It was a lot of cereal. I got out the door and waited for the bus, and once I got on, I started looking around for my boys. Once I found them, the ugly truth came out. All these dudes were sober. I had been duped. I was the only person that had gone through with the plan, and I couldn't get off this bus. I had no choice but to face this entire school day way higher than I'd ever managed before, all by myself. I felt like a kid who had nobody come to his birthday party. I was alone, dude. To give you an example for how high I really was, the entire bus ride, I just looked at the floor with my eyelids halfway open. I was spacing out of my mind. I felt like I was accepting the warm embrace and darkness of death. Once the bus got to school, I came back to my body and my boys helped me in. We sat in the hallway, and before the school day started, these guys were having a whole Socratic seminar around my lifeless body. How the fuck are we supposed to deal with this problem? I mean, we could make him throw up so he's a little more sober. I don't want to throw up. I don't want to lose my cereal. I ate a lot of it this morning. I got next period with him, so I could just help him out in class there. Alright, that sounds good. We'll just try and ride this out the whole day. day. And then the bell rang and I'm practically dragged to my first period. We were in a science class, and luckily for me, we were having one of those days where we just watch National Geographic, and that was about all we did. I sat in the back of the class with my friend, which was being my caregiver for the class, and we had to do these worksheets as we watched through the video, but I ignored them altogether. I even remember the exact video we watched this day. It was a documentary about gorillas called Go Ape. And I couldn't contain myself watching this shit, man. I mean, the monkeys and apes are just so silly, dude. In the way that the narrator talked was so seriously about them. It was killing me. He would say some stuff like,
"She's dependent on the bigger male to keep her safe, though he spends most of his time munching leaves."
and I'd be in the back of the class like, and the teacher would just look at me down with these shut up eyes. But I mean, look at this. It's still funny while sober. You cannot blame me for this at all. Just look at the way they look. They're so goofy. So the class ended and I went to the next, which I had the same friend in. So once again, I could have my little guardian to make sure nothing bad happens to little old me. After watching Go Ape, I was feeling good. Normally, I would be anxious about getting caught high at school, but this video just put me in the right mindset. Or maybe it was just that I was too high, I couldn't feel negative emotions, I don't know. Anyways, we get to the next class and it's math, so the subject is a little more involved, but again, I was chilling. My friend had to carry all of the stress going in here, which I love him for doing. If it weren't for him, I would have been done for. Thank you very much. 20 minutes into the class, I've got to royally poo in the toilet because of all the milk I drank this morning. So I raised my hand and the teacher is just ignoring me. And in all this time, the anticipation builds in my head for how I'm going to communicate that I need to go. I just decide this anticipation doesn't feel good. So I get up and walk out of the class. I do my business, and as I'm walking out of the bathroom, some kid is approaching me that the teacher had sent to go and get me. You gotta go back to class, man. All right. I get back to the class and the teacher's like,
What do you think you're doing leaving my classroom?
and I pull out the classic I threwed up card and I get sent to the nurse. So I gotta leave the class again, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't go to the nurse. I just go back to the bathroom and sit on the toilet until lunch. Now, this whole time I'm on the toilet, I'm thinking of a way that I can get out of school before lunch is over. I didn't feel sick at all and I wasn't about to make myself throw up. So my great plan that I had thought up was to go onto Google Images and find an image of a toilet with vomit in it. I know it's gross, but desperate times call for desperate measures. I found the right image that looked identical to the school bathroom, and I showed the image to the nurse, and I was like, I'm sick. I need my mom to pick me up. So my mom comes and picks me up. I won't lie, I felt like I had outsmarted the schooling system this day. That win really stroked my ego. I went home and I just played Fortnite all day, and it was a massive W because I don't take no L's ever. I imagine my friends that day were pretty confused because I had just disappeared. You know, they eventually found out. All right, that's a story. Bye-bye. Are you ever sitting in class thinking to yourself, damn, I'd rather do anything? Half the time, it's not even the class itself that's uninteresting. The teacher's just an old fart person. When he opens his mouth, cobwebs and flies come out. One Tapatio sauce drop and you'll have a new teacher and a criminal charge. I've had these teachers, and that's why I smoke gay-ass weed in their classes. Why did I write that in the script? So last semester, this class was Philosophy 101. I'm not gonna lie, I had a bussin' grade in this class, but I really didn't care about it. It was a waste of time, to be honest. This guy would just talk about some dead dude's idea for an hour and 15 minutes. I mean, I can think of most of these things on my own as an intellectual. Now, there was one day I was not having it. I snapped. I went bananas. I could not sit through another lecture talking about Socrates and his bullshit. I couldn't miss though because I needed a good grade. So I did what had to be done. I pulled out some of that good stuff. You know what I mean? That magic. In all honesty, I did way more than I should have. Every time I thought about how awful this class was going to be, I felt I wasn't high enough. So I get to the point where I'm baked like a fresh tray of cookies coming out of the oven. It was about a 5-minute walk to class from my dorm, so I started heading over, and as I'm walking, I'm realizing how high I really am. I keep staring at the floor and thinking, I'm grateful this floor is here to support me right now. Once I get in class, I sit in the back. It's a pretty big lecture hall, so I knew I could blend in easily. So once I sit down, the lecture starts and the professor pulls up his presentation. I am immersed in the way the slides look. I don't know why, but I just feel excited. I feel like this was going to be the time of my life. The professor starts talking about Descartes and says he was known for the whole phrase, I think, therefore I am. Now, the professor kept on talking, but I just kept on this phrase in my mind. I start feeling my own thoughts and asking myself, am I my thoughts or am I my body? I start asking if my thoughts are even my own or if they're someone else's. This idea feels brilliant to me. I feel like I need to express it. I raise my hand in the middle of the lecture. The professor looks directly at me and calls on me. And I think to myself, fuck, what did I just do? But there's nothing left to do but carry out my plan. So I ask, how do we know if our thoughts are really us? Then the professor just stares at me in silence for what feels like 30 seconds. I feel like it's the most obvious thing in the world that I am high right now, and this teacher is looking right at me. I feel like it's already too late. He already knows. Then someone saves me. Someone else raises their hand and the professor's attention was diverted. This guy is a hero. He's my hero. He starts taking my idea seriously and trying to debate the professor on it. Before I know it, the whole class is getting involved in this discussion, and I'm just so high I barely understand what I've started. Eventually, the hour's over and the lecture ends. But as it ends, the professor asks me to talk to him after class. Now I really know it's over for me. I walk down to the front while everyone else is leaving. I feel like a warrior marching to his grave. When I get to the front, the professor asks me, will you remind me of your name? Now, I'm not gonna go down without a fight. If he doesn't even know my name, he can't report me. So I use the alias of the guy who was sitting next to me to take this fall. My name is Kyle. Well, Kyle, I would like to talk to you about your question today in class. Thank you for being so engaging and starting a stimulating discussion. So I'm gonna give you 3 extra credit points in this class. I just thanked him and headed out after giving this stranger my rightfully deserved extra credit points. After that, I actually just kept going to class high because anything I thought of or said while high would make people think I was really wise and intelligent, apparently. I think it really just goes to show how philosophy classes really are. Alright, bye! I went to a farm and did za. Remember when I said I was going to Iowa? That wasn't a lie. A month ago, I packed my bags with every prized possession I own, and then, boom, I landed in Iowa, where Roman, the cutthroat, bone-smashing big back, picked me up and drove me to the corn farm. Now, here's the kicker about the state of Iowa. They don't got legalized za. So I'm in the car sweating profusely, twiddling my fingers and blushing a little bit like, Roman, how are we gonna get this stuff? How are we gonna do it? But he reassured me he had the methods. He looked me up and down and said, don't worry, I have the methods, which I found very reassuring. So we pull up to the farmland and do a few days of farming. I don't know a thing about farming, so when they do they work, I just stand idle like the red Lego guy. But then the day came. The day Roman would show me his methods and we could have fun and play with each other. He brings me to his uncle's house on the farm and we acquire gummies via the cutthroat unk method. Roman's uncle gave us the hookup. We pay our thanks to Mr. Cutthroat Unk for bestowing us gummies and tiptoe out the front door, just in case the police heard our footsteps. But once we securely took the package back to our place on the farm, it was time to get freaky. The average human being would probably think the only thing to do in Iowa at night is get eaten by monsters in the cornfields and visit the Field of Screams. But I'm not the average person, and I had a plan. You see, farms have these little vehicles called mules mules, which are literally just golf carts. I wanted to do this edible and drive to the only location that existed in this goofy small town, and that's Casey's gas station. I hadn't been high in like 3 months, and I was prepared for the hella munchies. And so we ate this edible and watched the Teen Titans Go movie until they started to hit. Fast forward a bit, and once I was starting to develop feelings for Starfire, I knew it was game time. Brother, are you ready to do this shit? Most definitely. We get our things and frantically bolt to the door, but we both fucking stop in our fucking tracks because right before our eyes was Roman's cat Manhole. Bro really named his cat Manhole. But Manhole was mad cute, bro, on some type shit, you feel me? He was on some, you want a little treat, Manhole? And upon inspection into the cabinet, we had only whole wheat bread. Manhole, I'm so sorry you're gonna have to starve to death. Nah, bro, nah. We gotta get him snacks. Snacks from the gas station. You don't mean, oh, I mean. You see, Manhole loves hot dogs. And what's at the gas station but $4 hot dogs? So now the move is to get our little asses in the mule and travel all the way to Casey's to acquire the $4 hot dog so that Roman's cat could enjoy his favorite snack. The two of us say a heartfelt goodbye to Manhole as we hop in the mule and begin our travels. The nearest gas station was like 15 miles away, and the mule only goes about 30 miles an hour, but I wasn't about to drive this thing at top speed. That sounded scary. So we had about an hour-long journey through the dark, desolate corn and soybean fields to get this hot dog. And let me tell you, when you're off the Unk Gummy in the pitch black darkness, it makes you think skinwalkers are about to abduct you. It's straight up like a liminal space. When I say it's all corn and soybeans, I mean it. The terrain is Minecraft super flat with miles of farmland stretched out as far as you can see. There'd be an occasional farmhouse we'd pass, but the only thing to really focus on was the windmills that would flash red lights at you all in unison. I straight up thought supernatural entities were about to eat me alive and stop me from getting my hot dog. This shit was getting to my head until Roman was like, you wanna listen to some music? Oh yeah, bro, what do you wanna listen to? And he plays the goofiest banjo tunes I done ever heard in my life, but something about them put my mind at ease. We felt like real farmers with this stuff playing. And after a bit of driving, I happened to spot something with my little engorged eyes. The mule came to a screeching halt and I'm like, bro, do you see that? No. Look, right there. Look, right there. And Roman's gross jaw fell to the ground because what we had just run into was some weed lying on the ground just asking to be stolen, which sounds far-fetched, but I'll get to it. Now, the two of us have an IQ of 140 combined. And I didn't realize this wasn't actually weed. It was a marijuana plant which grows as like an invasive species or something. You can't actually smoke this stuff and get high. But again, combined 140 IQ. Oh my god, there's no fucking way, bro! We gotta steal this shit. We need every last bit. So we start pulling the weed out of the damn soil and loading the mule up with it. We were driving away with plants hanging out the sides of the doors thinking we just hit the jackpot. I start doing a little bit of trolling like, you know, Roman, if you eat those things, you'll get a little bit high. That's how edibles work. Holy dude, no way. Roman starts fucking that food up, eating the plants as we proceed with this journey. We pull up to the gas station, get out, and have a moment to lock in and pretend to be sober. If this gas station employee had even an inkling that we were high, they'd probably call the cops and put us in prison. That's just the Iowa culture. Stakes were high here. We enter the building and immediately I don't know where the hot dogs are. It's in the dead of night and we're the only ones in there. So the gas station dude starts hitting us with some lethal southern hospitality like, what brings you folks in here so late? I never seen you two. Oh, you know, we're just hungry. What would you guys want? Hamburger. Oh shit, I can't go back on this. I fucked up. No, we want the $4 hot dog. I thought I'd be suspicious if I said my order wrong, so I doubled down like, no, I want the hamburger. He wants the $4 hot dog. Well, I'm sorry, but we don't have hamburgers, but I can get you that hot dog. And now I look real sus because who not just goes to a gas station for hamburgers but doubles down on it? There's not a gas station on earth that has hamburgers. I had to get out of there, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go look somewhere else. Which sounded like I was gonna leave, but I was just going to the candy aisle while Roman got the hot dog. And looking at those chocolate bars, I felt myself going non-verbal and feeling paralyzed. But something about them made me laugh. The Hershey's made me start chuckling to myself because I was thinking about Mr. Beast Feastables, and I thought it would be really funny to ask the guy if they had Feastables. I wasn't about to actually do that, but I did text Roman, bro, what if we asked for Mr. Beast Feastables? And then from the other side of the gas station, I hear, yo, do you guys have the Mr. Beast chocolates? And I start holding my face, trying not to laugh. I looked like a psychopath. I didn't think he'd actually ask on my behalf. So as Roman gets that hot dog and leaves, I follow behind before this dude stops me like, you didn't want anything? And I couldn't talk at this point. I was cooked. So I just gave this guy a cheeky smile as we both just walked out. He probably thought that we just robbed him because as soon as we got out, we both just sprinted right back to the mule. All of a sudden, I get a phone call from my big dog Roderick, and I reject that shit immediately and whip the mule back to the farm. And overall, I'd say that interaction was like a 3 out of 10. But now we finally had the hot dog, and we were on our way to give it back to Manhole. Roman had to put his banjo music back on to regulate our nervous systems from the gas station incident, and halfway through the drive home, we had something happen that didn't happen on the drive there. We started to see headlights approaching us on the road. This was the first car we've seen, and I thought, it's the fucking police. This guy called the fucking police on us. Dude, our car is full of weed, we're fucked! So we pull over and turn the headlights off, going incognito mode, throwing all the marijuana plants on the ground. In this frenzy, Roman dropped the hot dog on the ground. All the condiments and buns fall off and it gets all dirty. This hot dog is no longer edible, and on top of that, we forgot to turn the banjo music off as this car is approaching. It luckily just passed us, and it was not a cop, but that was a real scare. And the rest of the drive home was just depressing because of the travesty that just happened to our dog. But we made it back alive and rinsed that shit off for Manhole to enjoy. Giving the cat his snack was a success, but we forgot to retrieve munchie food, so the two of us just ate our whole wheat bread for the rest of the night and crashed out. This was the most depressing night of my life. Being an Iowa crash out isn't good for the soul. So the lesson today is don't be a farmer because they don't have Postmates out there. Okay, bye. Target is an amazing place, isn't it? I don't know what it is about this grocery store, but somehow I just always find myself going here even when I have absolutely no reason to be in Target. It's just the superior Walmart. I walk into Walmart and it's like a wave of depression just hits me. No one wants to be there. The floors are all gray. It's terrible. But on the other hand, I walk into Target and the exact opposite happens to me. Maybe it's the floor colors. That could really be the secret. So I love Target, but that's just when I'm sober. If I smoke and then I go into a Target, it's just a different story. This is my happy place. Jumping over a ball and entering those doors, I become unstoppable. I don't know if your Target is like this, but most of the ones that I've been to have a Starbucks as soon as you walk in. So I'll be going up to the Starbucks as soon as I walk in there, and I'll pull the, can I get and I just can't help myself to eat one of those ooey gooey delicious little pastries they sell there. I end up buying one of those caramel ribbon crunch frappuccinos and drink the whole thing while I'm in the store with no regard to the impending diabetes that I'm going to have. I end up getting super high and cracked off this caffeine, and I've just started. I just walked through their doors and I'm fucked. I don't know if other people experience this, but whenever I'm in a public grocery store while I'm high, I just walk around with a big smile on my face and I can't control it. I don't want to be walking around with this big ass grin. I try and resist it, but it just can't be stopped, which becomes a problem because when you're high in public, you don't want people to know you're high. Me especially. Even if I'm chilling at home and I'm high, I try and keep it from everyone. It's just like an instinct. I have no reason to do this. I just kind of do. So I'll just be in Target Target feeling like I'm the most suspicious guy on the planet because of this big ol' smile. To be honest, I probably am. I mean, people see me, they perceive me. I probably am sus as hell. And that's why you gotta wear a mask when you go out. Hi, that's a little wisdom for you. Despite being an adult man, the first place I'm gravitated to is, of course, the Lego aisle. I know I'm not gonna buy any of these Lego sets too. They're way too expensive, but there's a strange enjoyment in just staring at them. Maybe I'm imagining me having them and that's enough to satisfy me, or it could be that I'm reminiscing on the long lost childhood wonders these blocks once gave me. Such a pure joy that could never be recreated in my current broken state. But either way, I just like looking at the different Lego sets Target has. And I always find myself back in the exercise equipment section as well. You know, where they have those weird curvy sticks? I have no idea what these are supposed to do or what they are, but I always pick it up and just mess with it. You know, I'll poke my back a few times with it and just put it down, as confused as I was the last time I tried doing this. And it's always a Target tradition to try and curl the 40-pound dumbbells. You just can't resist the masculine urge to curl the Target 40-pound dumbbell. I'll be in the aisle getting an entire workout in. And don't even get me started on the big ball bin. I be bouncing them big balls through the halls. I just be bouncing them balls all I want. No one can stop me from bouncing the big balls. I never buy them though. I don't know one person that's ever bought in these balls, but you always gotta play with them. And then I conclude my awesome 20-minute Target trip of the day, still high, just with a lot of sugar and caffeine in my system. My hands are still empty because I don't ever buy shit. Call me the menace of Target. I just be messing with things. Now that I think about it, I really just do fuck with Target a lot. When I used to live in college dorms, I didn't want to pay for a parking pass, so I just parked at Target and left my car there overnight for like an entire year, and no one stopped me despite the sign saying that you can't park at Target. And another message, thank you for 10,000 subscribers. Jesus fucking Christ, like this just happened so goddamn fast. I don't know where it came from, but you know, I'm about it. So what I want to do for 10,000 subs is a Q&A video. So what you can do is either just comment on this video a question, or I made a community post. You'll probably have more luck getting it answered if you reply on the community post rather than the comments, but you know, just go ahead and do that. Okay, bye. I'm sure that you all, like me, love the great American outdoors. I can't get enough of the nice pine trees, the nice fresh air, and the lack of cops. But unfortunately, sometimes it be the common man who wishes to do you wrong, in addition to the government. And by the common man, I was done wrong upon on this very camping trip. Me, Adam, Roman, and Roderick wanted to do this big trip into the woods with weed and alcohol. So we planned to go camping at this place that's sort of far away from my house. Far enough away to act a pirate, to be alone and get fucked up at. So you have to drive out of town, up this mountain, and through plateaus and valleys and rivers to get there. But once you get to the top, it becomes a lot of campsites that overlook this really big canyon. We took Roderick's rinky-dink Toyota Matrix, and let me tell you, the gams on this baby, the gams, as in there were none. It took us like 2 hours to get to the top. This car was not built for 4 young, spry boys going uphill. Once we finally made it after sweating in this no AC heat box, there was this fucking tree blocking the road we wanted for the campsite. So we moved that shit, like bam, like out the motherfucking way, bitch, blunts in mouth. So we get done being hot and we throw this tree, pull the car along the road, and make it to the campsite. It's all downhill to our left because the campsite washes out in the cliff drop. But we set up the tent and there's this beautifully constructed fire ring of high rocks that's right next to the edge. We set up the chairs and start working. Me and Roderick get the grate. Roman brought the skillet to rest on top. Adam starts rolling the yada yada, that sugar gabagool into the honey blunt, while my boy Roman gets the playlist bumping. We fry up eggs and bacon at like 9 at night and smother it in hot sauce and start drinking with dinner. We smash Coronas and we pass blunts for a little bit. Before long, the horror and reality of what we had just done began to set in. We had smothered a little too much and my stomach had really began to be a little fucking mad at me. One by one, we got hit by the shits in varying levels. Roman wound up throwing up because of his upset stomach. This unfortunately lasts a while, and I think the septic shock began to set in as we all felt absolutely feverish, from the shitting to the weed to the beers. Our grand night had hit a crash because I was just sacked out. But as I'm getting out of the tent at this time, I see what is clearly light coming from beyond the car. I'm at the tent, so I can't really see what it is from where I'm at. So I walk a little closer to see what it was. It's 5 flashlight beams walking in this cloud of light along the road. And if I wasn't gonna shit before, I was gonna shit myself now. No one in this group was saying anything. It was dead silent. They were coming along the road toward the campsite, and my heart is racing. But I try and be as quiet as I can as I get behind the tent. From behind the tent, I whispered that I saw people with flashlights coming. Roman sits up from the ground and reaches for the car keys, and now we're all sitting up to notice the light all coming closer. The lights reach the car and pause at it. We can see the outlines of like 3 guys peering into the car, but Roman presses the panic button. Immediately, the place just explodes with sound, and in a flash second, those 3 dudes were sprinting away from the car and not coming back. If we had not already been traumatized, we had been by now by the actual fucking trauma. We got all our shit out of the car and packed it into the tent and stay awoke all night until dawn. I guess in hindsight, it would have been smarter to leave and drive away, but we're badass motherfuckers. We wished they'd come back. We were ready to fuck them up. Eventually, I'm not gonna lie, we passed out waiting. But around sunrise, I woke up and poked my little head out the tent, and I got out and walked towards the fire pit. I slumped in one of the chairs and watched the valley open as the sun floated over the canyon, and then I passed out again. I woke up like 3 hours later. We all got our stuff and got the fuck out of there. But what we noticed as we were getting into the car to leave is that there was a scratch. These dudes had, I guess, I don't know, keyed the car or something, or maybe it was a knife and they were gonna kill us all. Okay, that's the story. Bye. I won't lie, the movie theaters is probably the best place on earth that you can go while you're high. If you get the munchies, you can just order the most buttery popcorn you'll ever eat in your life and munch on it for the entire movie. They got those big ass sodas that probably have like 300 milligrams of sugar inside of them. And it's like there's an entire weaponry of snacks that you can choose from to eat. Although your wallet is going to go through some form of financial trauma, I didn't say it was the most cost-effective place on earth, did I? You just have to get through the process of ordering the food, which admittedly is difficult to do while you're high. But once you get into the movie theater room, it's so nice and dark that after 5 minutes pass, you kind of just forget that you're in a public scenario. And the best part is if you're in a good movie, you'll probably just forget that you exist in your entirety. You'll be so invested in whatever you're watching, you're gonna start feeling like you are in the movie, experiencing it firsthand. There's different levels to being high and watching movies that you can be in. If you're just kinda high, you're gonna just feel like you're a little more interested in the movie. If you're pretty high, you're gonna start feeling like you're in the movie. But if you're baked out of your mind, you will feel like you are the movie. My first time going to the movie theaters high, I saw Dragon Ball Super Broly, and this shit had me glued. It was probably the best movie I could have watched. The animation is so goddamn good. It's colorful, it's fast. I mean, what else would you want out of a movie when you're high? I was in the final stage that I mentioned, and I felt like I truly was this movie. I felt like I was Goku. When he screamed, I felt that adrenaline rush. When he powered up into a new form, I felt like a new man. And at that part where he gets his fucking head dragged through an iceberg, I felt the pain alongside. Now, of course, this is all happening in my head. In actuality, I was probably just not moving a muscle with my mouth agape the whole time. I'm sure I was probably drooling, bro. I was only mentally Goku, but physically, I was probably just brain dead. Once you come out of the movies, you feel like a different person. Something deep in your soul changes. These movies have a real influence. I was trying to make kamehamehas in the parking lot, screaming as loud as I can to power up. I was going crazy. I got home and I wanted to fight people. I had Goku's fighter spirit. It was put into me after watching this. I think the experience heightened my testosterone levels tenfold because I just started wrestling my boys. I was at an unhealthy T level. Like, I was on steroids. I was in trend mode. I don't really watch movies very often, so the Dragon Ball movie is one of the only movies I've really seen while high. I imagine watching movies high most of the time does not turn you into the killer monster I was this day. I imagine most times it's pretty chill, but not in my case. I have a very limited handful of experiences to base my judgment off of. So as for where it stands right now, watching movies high just brings out the evil in me. And it's not all sunshine and rainbows either, because at the end of the day, I ended up throwing up into the toilet. I guess all the literal shit I consumed in the theaters mixed with the strenuous physical activity was not good for my body. So be cautious of that. It's very easy to overeat your snacks in the theaters, but also maybe it was just the movie. Maybe Dragon Ball wasn't actually the best movie to watch while I was high. When it comes to high school, we all have shit memories. Nobody's decision making will be depthful when they don't have consciousness. Even when it was good, it was never all that good. Today, I'm unfortunately here to recall upon a time that has fallen down in infamy. It was a certified bad time. Back in 11th grade, we needed to up the ante and raise the stakes on a daily basis, merely to keep entertained and probably alive with our hormone brains. So we concocted this half scheme idea to smoke gold. And what I meant by that was to roll a golden joint. Surely an absolute premium experience to be had. We wanted that man in the moon weed to get us out of this motherfucking world and to place into our wraps made of gold. But that wasn't enough. We had the brilliant idea of suggesting a boys' feast this night, featuring a steak, a beautiful steak, as the main dish. We fancied ourselves sophisticated philosophers and men of taste. The philosophers in question being me, Roman, Roderick, and Adam. Our combined brain power told us we needed to act fast, or else Adam's plug may take a nap. So Adam texted him at lunch real quick to secure a dub before Mans hit his afternoon weed coma. After school, we hopped in the whip and skirted off. Questing with the boys was never any lightweight situation, you understand. A Socratic philosophical debate carried out inside revolving around how much coinage was required for the night's festivities. If we pooled our money, we had $47, which was probably enough to buy the steak and the weed that we wanted. We pulled up to Safeway and parked the whip to commence the shopping. This was my first time buying meat to cook. I didn't know what to look for, and neither did anyone else. We bought the steak, got in, and got the fuck out of there like that. Adam's plug lived right up the hill, so we zoomed up the hill right after and filled into his basement like weed gnomes. When we got the za, we tell him about our quest and ask him if he knows how or where we could find golden wraps. He goes, "Hold on," as he pulls out a golden cone and a small piece of gold paper. You can either have a pre-roll for 20 or the filter for free, but you can't have both. This is what I meant when I said high school was shite. This moment right here should have been it all. Anyways, the boys mentally connect for a moment and confirmed that we're all like, fuck this guy. So we grab the filter and head out. Before we leave, he gives us 3 shops that wouldn't card, according to him. With 2 of the 3 ingredients scored, everybody hopped back in Adam's car and set course for the first shop. We for real felt like American navies in this moment. Brave seamen who ventured into unknown waters for booty. As we pulled into the parking lot, Adam said he wanted to go in first. So we blessed his ass with ancient prayers before exiting the vehicle. He comes back empty-handed and looking a tad unnerved. He explains that he went in to find a really chill, young-looking guy behind the counter. But as he started to browse around, he noticed that there was a bit of a switch up. An old guy sat crossing his arms and glaring at Adam from where the other guy was. This did not vibe with Adam very well, so he bolted out the door before he let anything else happen. Exhibit 19 as to why high school sucks. The shit you have to risk your literal life and limb over was never worth it. Looking back, this was not worth the amount of trouble we could have gotten into. From here on out, we decided to call the places to ask if they had any specialty wraps, but the second and third shops that the plug had given us were a no-go. So we decided to Google 24 karat gold weed wrapping paper for sale near me. This turned up some interesting results, and after some more Googling, we narrowed it down to one shop that might have had. At this point, we're impatient and morally sabotaged after escaping a nearly fatal encounter with the last. As we're pulling into this decrepit looking empty strip mall, we consult the lexicon and find a ritual of protection for our boy Roderick. We gotta buff him with Dark Moon Blade before sending our man out into the fray of Dark Root Garden, bro. This motherfucker Roman starts chanting inaudibly. We wrap up our blessings and Roderick steps out ready to face our collective demons. Adults in authority positions in possession of shit that we want. We wait 5 minutes, then like 8, and then about 10 minutes go by and there's still no sign of him. Finally, he comes out and it looks good. He's got that little grin we all knew meant good things. Roderick went sexy beast mode and not only found the wraps, but convinced this guy that he was 21 enough to buy them. So we had the wraps, we had the za, we had the steak, and we had our magical precious filter. All that was needed now was to assemble the stones like Thanos and rip fat tokes of this golden excellence. Adam's parents still hadn't gotten home yet, so we zoomed over there to prepare the feast. Adam cracks out the pan while Roman and Roderick take over the cooking preparations. Everyone crowds around the cooking skillet watching the steak come up as Adam tries to roll the joint. The problem was that we had not expected the golden wrapping paper to be as thin and slippery as it was. Adam's fingers couldn't really get a good tuck going and fold the paper over. Micro weed nuggets start falling out and I foresee what is about to happen before it does. This moment is God sent. I prophesized the fall of the joint. As we're all there admiring this magnificent cut of beef sizzling on the burner, Adam's hands dip down low, causing every single last crumb of weed to roll out the tip into the steak. Nobody says anything. Then, without saying a word or anything out loud, we all lean forward and start trying to inhale the sizzling weed crumbs off the frying pan. But of course, it doesn't work, so we all cry and piss ourselves for the rest of the night. And that's why high school is ass. Some experiences in life are just universally accepted as certified bad time. Like those car crashes on Instagram Reels, talking to a baddie just for your brain to immediately attempt a system reboot, and Chun-Li not being in the Fortnite item shop for 564 days. And the situation of having a scary high is no exception. I can't even play Five Nights at Freddy's past night 2, so it's especially bad for me. Once I start seeing the shadow people, I accept that my time has come. With that being said, the night of my scariest high experience naturally had its share of wallahi I'm finished moments. But I should have known something bad was gonna happen to me because the night starts posted up watching those creepy real life goblin sighting videos. We had the all-star lineup here, me, Roman, and Jaime, enduring footage of these violent creatures. It was so bone chilling, we all essentially pissed our pants out of fear that goblins could be real. But why why were we doing this to ourselves? Because we were actually buying time for BAM! That's right, Roderick's in this story too. We got Big Roderick in the story, baby. He bursts in spouting his famous catchphrase, "Any room for me?" And you already know he came strapped with those gummies as per usual Roderick activity. Without a damn nanosecond of thought, me and Rowan start clawing at Roderick's legs like, "Please give us gummy, we want gummy!" Once we get our special treats, we start nibbling them down. But Jaime doesn't eat one, because when he gets high, he either wants to hurt us or go to bed. All this scary activity had our group in a mood for a creepy experience of sorts. So Roderick immediately strikes us with an illegal opportunity. "You boys want scary?" "Yes! We want it!" "Alright, then let's go trespassing." You know me, I couldn't give up a trespassing opportunity if I tried. We all equip our hardest black fits and frolic out the front door, hyped for an adventure. Thugging the streets to this spot had us pondering how we wouldn't get caught, so here's the plan. Me, Roman, and Roderick all enter and play around while Jaime, as the sober one, plays lookout in the bushes in case any entities appear. As we pull up, the travel time had allowed those gummies to make us start feeling real giddy and joyous. The spot Roderick brought us to was an apartment under construction. It had 3 floors and a gate around the entire perimeter except for the very front. So we walk into this place and the vibe here feels haunted. We all had the iPhone flashlights on except for Roman because he had the Motorola flashlight, and there was only a few feet of visibility before darkness enveloped the entire group. We pretty much had the Slenderman visibility. We start exploring around and see some creepy stuff like unfinished bathroom. But all of a sudden, an urge starts to come over me and Roman. Those gummies had a slow creep and decided not to peek until we were a story deep in this dark construction site. This was an overwhelming feeling to the point where we were positively tweaking. Turns out we thought we had eaten a 20 milligram or so gummy, but Roderick's were actually 200. Our dumbasses just read the packaging wrong. But in the context of the story, we never figured this information out. We just chopped it up to the fear and adrenaline. Once we finally journeyed to the top floor, all that fear immediately vanished when we got an incredible view of the complete black void. But once we had journeyed through the entire building, the mystique of the place kind of fell off. It turns out that walking through an empty building wasn't actually all that. Roderick started to get really bored, so his fat ass started jumping around, making as much noise as possible. That shit was making creaking noises, so me and Roman were like, "Stop jumping, stop jumping!" Stop. Because we were already tweaking enough. But then we hear what sounds like footsteps, and we all immediately stop in dead silence. We can make out the sound and figure of something approaching us, but we don't know what. It could be a construction worker, police, FBI. As the entity gets closer, we can make out its form to look like a small person, and I think, holy fuck, the goblins are fucking real! But as this thing approaches, we find out it's actually a small child. He starts conversing with us like we're not 3 men in the darkness. So we chop it up with this kid, and we find out that he's just some middle schooler wandering around. Now we've acquired a new squad member added to the group. So we probably sit here with him for like 15 minutes until an imminent Jaime FaceTime comes through. "Guys, fucking run! The fucking cops! Run! The fucking cops!" We start to all panic because again, we are all the way on the top floor. We had imminent law enforcement approaching and had to scale 3 stories of building. The 3 of us immediately understood that we had to get out of there to avoid detainment. But the middle school kid we found was not on the same page. As we start to head out, he stays back, so we turn around like, "Come with us, little bro. We gotta move. I don't want to risk getting caught. I'm gonna hide somewhere." "What the fuck are you talking about? You dumb fucking kid. You're gonna get arrested, you fucking asshole." This middle school child really thought the best operation was to hide in the same location these cops are about to search. I wasn't about to risk jail time saving a kid with $15 shoes, so the 3 of us just left him behind. We sprint down a story, then down another story, and then down another fucking story. We don't want to go out the front door. That would be like the first mission of GTA 5 in real life. We needed another route. So we sneak through a hole in the wall where there would have been a window that leads us to the back and climb over the fence. We had to be real sure our movements weren't suspicious, so we go down a block and circle the perimeter back to Jaime. Jaime's just sitting there in his bush, but with a quick inspection, we see no cops on the premises. So we confront Jaime like, "Where's the cops, little jit?" And he's like, "There are no cops." Because Jaime's stupid dumbass just got bored playing lookout and wanted to go home. So we start cooking him up because he's being a little baby. We make him eat shrubs to bully him. Bro was atomically down bad to go home. But the thing is, Jaime had no idea about the middle schooler in the building with us. Little bro got caught in the crossfire and was still in there believing that the cops could approach at any time. So we tell Jaime, "There's a kid in there that thinks the cops are showing up because of you. But then the cops actually do pull up. We must have tripped one of those silent alarms, but that's besides the point. We had now somehow inadvertently set up a middle schooler to get caught trespassing by the police. The four of us watched the car pull up in complete silence just to see what happens. There was only one cop that gets out of his car and he starts entering the place with a flashlight. You'd think I should have felt bad for the kid here, but I was just glad that I wasn't the one getting caught. Kids don't face legal repercussions anyway, so I'm like, we should all just head out before we get caught. Yeah. I wanna go home anyway, so that works. Any room for me? So we all just started walking home with a skip in our steps, leaving the middle schooler storyline unfinished. Hopefully, that isn't the beginning of the kid's villain arc story, where he finds this video, tracks me down, and kills me in Planet Fitness under a Smith machine. But the journey home that night was restless. Me and Roman were paranoid with schizophrenia, seeing tall black figures lurking in the darkness. When we finally got home, a wave of relief washed over us, and I laid on the floor face down, booty up, melted into the carpet. I couldn't get up from the floor because I didn't want to stomach more goblin sighting videos. Those videos hit too hard. But when you've experienced your own real life goblin sighting, they hit even harder. So the moral of the story here, buy the ninja clothes. If you wear it to school, your social credit will increase and you'll get unfathomable popularity in sex. Okay, bye guys. I recently bought an Airbnb to stay in for 50 hours and get deviously high for the entire time period. Every 5 hours that passed, my beautiful friend Cameron would spin a giant wheel with various different challenges I would have to complete. By default, every 5 hours, I would also eat a 25 milligram edible, progressively getting higher and higher as the challenge went on. But if I failed the challenge, Cameron would force me to eat an additional 2 gummies, which, you know, would probably end up with me passed out if I failed too many. For the first 5-hour block, Cameron spun that massive wheel and got make a PowerPoint. So I eat my gummy and start thinking about what I'm going to make this PowerPoint about. I'm looking around this Airbnb room for inspiration, but there's not much to work with. But then I feast my eyes upon something great. It was one of those corny Christian house decor items, and I thought, yeah, I can work with this. I got to work tirelessly on this PowerPoint. Although those gummies started to hit halfway through, so it took me a bit longer than I anticipated, that was nothing the Lord's strength couldn't handle. After hours of endless work, I had a finished product to present to Cameron. Alright, Cameron, so this is why Jesus Christ should definitely smoke weed by Ninja. Let's be honest here, he's still a person at the end of the day, just like me and you. And I bet being the Holy Lord comes with a lot of stress and anxiety. I bet smoking weed would really help him out with that. Let's do a little activity. Let's count on our hands how many of our friends believe in the Lord's faith. Yeah, that's right, not a single one. The youth are quickly losing faith, but smoking weed will make Jesus way cooler and way more relatable to younger people. Here's just a quick before and after. Jesus before he smokes weed and Jesus after he smokes weed. As you can tell, there's a big upgrade here. Without weed, he is mid. Faith will be peak again. Thank you for listening. Cameron thought my presentation was very cool and impressive, so afterwards I didn't have to eat any extra gummies and I was free until hour 10. Something I didn't foresee is that these activities would not take nearly as long as the 5-hour time slots between them allowed for. So I had a lot of free time. All that free time meant lots of hours on TikTok while high, which perfectly transitioned into the hour 10 challenge. I ate a gummy and Cameron spun the very giant and real wheel, and I got watch TikTok and make a top 5 list of the best ones you find. I had already been grinding TikTok for a few hours, so I knew I could make the most fire top 5 TikToks. I scrolled for a few more hours because I wanted a varied sample group of videos. After my many hours of hard labor were over, I meticulously handcrafted the perfect videos from my likes. First, I started off off with a beautiful penthouse view of Cameron's favorite city in Chongqing, China, followed by this Roblox depiction of a child abduction, which I felt Cameron could relate to very well. I did a bit of a 1-2 combo here because the next video of Hasbullah is also something I imagine Cameron can relate to pretty closely. The next one was a pretty cool rock formation in Ireland, but it didn't actually matter at all because it was all set up for the grand finale TikTok of this epically laughing dog. Not gonna lie, I think that last one was the slam dunk that sealed the deal here because I had Cameron dead and I passed with flying colors. Hour 15 came, Cameron spun the wheel, and this time I had to make and drink a smoothie with all the delicious ingredients Cameron had so graciously bought me and put into the refrigerator. I had hella munchies at this point, so I was looking forward to this easy little break challenge I had gotten myself into. I opened the refrigerator and the only two things he had bought was cauliflower and a bottle of water. Bro, what is this? Why are these the only things? Oh, you know, it's just a little something, you know? I'm not gonna shred cauliflower and drink it with water, bro. Cameron was thinking 3 steps ahead of me because he knew I wouldn't eat this dung. He was doing a bit of what we call in the industry throwing for content. He felt I wasn't getting high enough, and if I were to fail this challenge and eat extra gummies, it would make things a little more interesting. I won't lie, it ended up working. During hour 15, I ate a total of 3 gummies because this little pitfall he had set for me. By the time hour 20 came, I was sloshed. This was the 1 hour that we didn't spin the wheel. The idea was that I had to build a pillow fort, which would really just be me making a bed to sleep in since I was 20 hours into this challenge and I had to sleep. But before I did that, I had already passed out. So when I was awoken all groggy at hour 25, Cameron had the 4 gummies I had to eat at the ready. This was the point where it was all just pain. I had to eat 100 milligrams of edibles after waking up from my shite sleep that only lasted 5 hours. Already we had to spin the wheel again, and it was a game of hide and seek where I had to hide from Cameron for a successful 30 minutes. I won't lie though, I just went into the closet with as many blankets as I could find, covered myself, and passed out. I ended up sleeping the whole time again, and to be honest, I woke up sloshed again and royally fricked from the residual hour 25 gummy load. As I awoke, Cameron came to me with an extremely devious smile and said, "Hey man, you gotta go to the kitchen. I got you something special for hour 30. Come on, big guy." So I got up feeling like I had just gotten hit by a car and waddled into the kitchen to see a big GoPuff bag. The wheel landed on a free spot, dude, so I got a gift for you. Oh my god. After 30 long hours of suffering, I finally have something good happening to me. I'm so hungry. I don't even care what you picked me, dude. I'll eat anything. Thank you so much. I grabbed the bag in excitement, and as I opened it, the only thing it was a super suction blue 12-inch dildo. Wow, thanks, bro. Thanks for buying me this. I actually ended up finding a lot of utility out of Cameron's epic item he got me because the suction on the bottom made for an awesome trick shot item. So I threw this thing around the house, bottle flipping it on just about every surface I could find until I accidentally stuck it to the ceiling and it was too high for me to retrieve. The suction on this thing was supreme. It was really stuck up there. Hour 25 was actually my favorite moment. I was tasked with making a song. I didn't have any kind of experience with music production, but Cameron did. He gave me his laptop with FL Studio to make an epic song, but he didn't actually help me at all. This song ended up taking me hours of tireless work since I had no idea how to use the application, but I seriously think I found my calling here. Once I figured out the basics, I was like Kanye West in the studio. The music was flowing through my fingertips, and I made one of the most fire songs I had ever heard. But enough talking about it, I'll just play the song for you guys. For some reason, Cameron didn't like this song though, because his head is too far up his ass. So I ended up eating an extra 2 gummies, and it was off to hour 40. The wheel spun, and what was required was a battle of willpower, discipline, and heart. I had to step outside in merely my undies while it was blisteringly cold and blizzarding, and survive standing in the snow like a Joe Rogan ice bath for 5 minutes. If I were to fail this challenge, challenge, I'd have to eat a gummy for every remaining minute on the clock. So the stakes here were higher than ever. I took a moment to collect myself, as I knew this would take an incredible amount of focus. So I did that thing you do where you sit at your bedside in the morning and take in the fact that you have to live another day on this earth. Except instead of a bed, it was on a couch side, and I was preparing for war. As I initially went outside, the cold hit me hard. Instantly, I wanted to turn back. But I saw the sinister look Cameron had in his eyes. I saw how badly he wanted to feed me all those gummies, and I was determined to prove him wrong. Against all odds, I step into the snow and shock instantly spreads throughout my entire body. I'm shivering, my teeth are chattering, but more than anything, I was persevering. With every passing second, the cold became slowly more bearable and I became slowly stronger. In the midst of this intense and cold winter, I found that there was within me an invincible summer. No matter how hard the world pushed me, there was something stronger, something better, pushing me right back. After the 5 minutes were up, I walked back into the warm indoors and felt an indescribable warmth return to my body. Unfortunately, this hour's triumph was also my last. After withstanding 40 hours high, 275 total milligrams of edibles in 5 minutes in the snow, it was just too much stress for my body. I passed out for good right at the home stretch and didn't get back up to finish all 50 hours. While I lost the challenge, the lifelong lessons I learned throughout the excruciating pain I endured these 2 days made up for it. Maybe another day I'll have to try this again and succeed, but anyways, that's the video. Subscribe, bye! I also have a second channel now, so subscribe to this Ninja Plus. Smoking the grass is unironically my career at this point, so you'd think I could hold my own against a little something, right? But this New Year's, I had a man of very high stature and business class offer me some za from his world, and it was like nothing I had ever done up until that very moment. But like I said, it was New Year's. The whole gang was downtown following Roderick around like little baby ducks because he supposedly had a surprise for all of us. So once we all get to the square where the ball drop was going to happen, he leads us all into an office building and up this elevator. Are we even supposed to be here, dude? I don't care. I literally was not asking you. Bro, get me out, sus, get me out! Gentlemen, trust me, we're good. Now collect yourselves and become presentable. We get to the top floor and step into this massive office building overlooking downtown. To my side, there's a table covered with tons of different drinks. Yo, what is this place? It's my parents' office, lads. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see him. It's big man Roderick's very own father. But he explains to the group that throughout the night, all of his lawyer and business friends would be coming through, and that we were all welcome to as many drinks as we wanted. So the boys go feral. Let's go! Hey, give me that. Thank you. You want my vape, bro? Alright. Oh god, I miss her. I miss her, bro. You know, sharing always makes me feel better. Do not fret. Cameron was the sober man that would be taking us all home this night. We were all being very responsible. So we all start opening the office windows and yell nonsense at random pedestrians. Before we know it, the place starts to fill with lawyers. The group breaks up, and in the presence of all of these high-value individuals, I taught some guy's wife how to floss. 10 p.m. was closely approaching, which meant that the first ball drop was about to happen before the real one at midnight. We all link up, look out the window, and despite this not even being the real New Year's celebration, the streets are filled with swarms of people. As we all marvel at this horde, we see a familiar face standing outside. It was our boy Tony. We need to go out there. So we all run down the stairwell and out the back exit, but as we left the door, we ran past one of the big dog lawyers that I had recognized seeing upstairs, and he was smoking something. So I made a mental note before joining the crowd. We gave Tony monumental greetings until ball drop time was about to happen. We all run to the center of the crowd, bust down excellent style for a few minutes until returning back to the lawyer office, stench and sweat covered from all of that bussing. Back up the elevator, I lead the squad into a small conference room and explain to them, boys, I think there's weed on the premises. I want to get my hands on it before the real New Year's event happens. So we start scouting around the office looking for the guy I had seen earlier. We ended up finding him still at the same spot prior, and as we walked out, the legend offered us some. So we all, minus Cameron, smoked with this lawyer, and before it really hit us, it was quite chill. So once we had our fun, it was back up to the office to devour the sandwich rolls and prepare for battle at midnight. Roman and Roderick start devouring every last crumb like savage berserkers, but I'm feeling a little differently. Yo, guys, that lawyer stuff is really hitting diff right now. How do you feel? I'm gonna go to that conference room again. So I'm sitting in the conference room alone. On the floor, I find a bunch of strings and start assorting them from longest to shortest. These two women walk into the room like,
What are you doing?
I'm playing with strings to stay alive. And that's all I remember out of that interaction. There was this dude that also came in as well, and he talked to me for like 5 minutes, but I have no memory of a word he said. Eventually, Cameron and Adam came into the room. Bro, we lost Roman and Roderick. Lamau. Do you need to go home, dude? Yeah. Alright, bro, we'll try and call them. And about 18 phone calls were made to Roman's phone, and not one was answered. Cameron and Adam decided they'd face the New Year's storm out in the streets to look for the two, while I stayed up in the office, so they moved out. It didn't take long for me to get bored of sitting in this conference room, so I get up and leave to look out the window and watch the ball drop from there. As I'm staring out this window, I eventually do see Roman and Roderick out there going crazy in the square. I watch them for a few minutes until Roderick walks away to get drinks from a bar or something. So Roman's out there all alone. Then there's this big middle-aged dude pushing his way through the crowd of people for I don't know why. Roman was in big man's trajectory, so once he eventually shoves Roman shoves him back. And then this dude punches Roman so hard that he falls to the ground and the police detain the unhinged big man. After seeing that, I thought, well, I should let them know I found Roman. So I walked down calling Cameron, telling him to meet me at the office entrance. As the both of us link, it's about a minute until New Year's, and everyone around us is going bananas, so we just stay put not to lose each other. Once midnight struck and the ball dropped, I just stared up into the sky completely unmoving and honestly feeling nothing. That za had me a stoic. So where's Roman? I lost him. Damn. Okay, well, I'm just gonna take you home, bro. You're clearly sloshed. I'll find them later. So my handsome little savior drives me back to my place. I get inside, and as I'm taking my stuff out of my pockets, I realized I still have Roderick's vape, but I didn't care and instantly passed out. And if you want to know what happened with Roman after this dude punched him and what went down once I left, you're gonna have to wait 3 months for when Roman makes his own video, because I don't know what happened. Boo-hoo. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. Many moons ago, when I was merely a supple young weed smoker, I was ignorant of the powers Thanksgiving Day holds. When the abundant load of yummy food comes face to face with a growing boy cracked off 2 guaps in a blinker, things get ugly. The gravy, the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, good big Lord above. Do not get me started on them cobblers. Dear gods, I will bust. But along with the excellence of Thanksgiving feasts, the price you pay is the difficulty of communication. With likely most of your family around, the danger levels are high. One slip up and you'll get the belt in front of everyone and have to sleep outside in the doghouse while it rains. Luckily, during my first rodeo, I developed strategies and tactics and moves to avoid my high being detected. So here's the story of that. It was the big day and all my family were just about prepared to eat the yummy food. As a pubescent gamer boy, high schooler dork loser with nothing going for me, I wasn't downstairs with them. I was locked in my bedroom, grinding Destiny with the only distant family member that we all know. It was the cousin, the top G of Thanksgiving. He hits me with the classic, "Hey, let's go for a little walk before we eat. But my arrogant ass didn't know this code at the time, so I'm like,
No, I want to keep playing Destiny.
so he shows me he's got that stizzy on him. Big cuz came to my crib with the strap, and I go primal. Ooh, gimme. Bro, I need the weed so bad. I haven't smoked in 3 millennia. All right, let's go on that walk then. We go downstairs, walk past my entire family, and I'm thinking, oh, they have no clue what I'm gonna do. All right, guys, we're gonna go on a quick walk. Yeah, a real quick one. We head down a few blocks, and cuz starts chafing the stizzy blinker after blinker like he weddy on the check. Like he's got 50 perks on the line and he's down a guap. No remorse for his soul and humanity. Bro smoked himself hollow like I've never seen before. After a display like that, I felt the need to do at least something that holds a candle to it. So I hit the stiz on God mode and I get sent out of my body. All that training had paid off because I sucked the souls out of this pen like a Division 1 football player. We have to get home since dinner was soon, but as we head back, I can't walk straight or keep my mouth shut. I'm laughing at literal nothing, staring down at asphalt and laughing. My cousin tries to bring me back into sanity by looking me in the eyes and saying, you gotta get a grip, man. You can't be like this in front of everyone. It'll be way too obvious. Nah, you got it all wrong. I got this. Trust me. When we get in there, I won't slip up. As we walk through the front door, I get hit with the real life mental version of the Vine boom sound effect. I was too high to think through the danger I had walked myself into, and I knew I could hardly speak. With no choice, I sit down at the dinner table and thought to myself, all right, I need to create a plan for when I'm asked a question. I can't take too long to respond or it's sus, but because the weed, I can't think fast enough to actually respond normally. So I need to use filler sounds and words to make up for my brain lag. I need to prove I'm sober by speaking well-articulated sentences no high person is expected to think. And to make sure they don't follow up, I'll start eating before they have a chance to. The food rolls out and we all start eating, and the antagonist of Thanksgiving shows himself, the uncle. He asks me, so how's school? And I initiate the plan. First, I start with the filler so I can think, Then I threw out my high IQ response. You know, school is lovely. I love school and learning. I've actually done all of my classes. With no hesitation, I start stuffing my face like I've never done before. I'm not even eating. I am inhaling the food. I need to use the bathroom. I hardly walk to the toilet and sit on it for like 10 minutes so this all blows over. As I come out, my cousin and I make eye contact. I could tell this was just as bad for him as it was for me. I'm just thinking about the Irwin speech from Attack on Titan to give me strength to get through this dinner. The food was positively bussin' though. The joys of eating all this food easily made up for the few times I was spoken to. The two of us eat a metric Drake ton of food this dinner, and I feel on the urge of death. Once it was all over, I ran back up to my bedroom to grind Destiny more. I felt like Luffy after a party, bro. It was on another level. Anyways, smoke weed on Thanksgiving. That's the story. Subscribe. Bye. Sleepovers with the boys are sacred moments to see how many boundaries you can get away with pushing, even if it means overextending a bit. It's what makes it fun. This night, Roman Cole and I planned to push the 2 ironclad rules amongst the Roman household. Rule 1, no weed. His parents didn't even know he smoked at this time. And 2, no friends over on this particular weekend. We were to not only sneak the weed into his house, but also ourselves. Roman had just got a brand new PlayStation VR headset and we wanted to experience the virtual reality while high, which posed for the riskiest activity of all. You see, this was his family PlayStation, meaning it was right in the middle of the living room, so we had to move at night when the family sleeps. Me and Cole stake outside for dusk to fall and Roman to give us the word. We had the weed in an airtight seal, a small pipe to smoke it, and some Febreze bottles to kill the smell. Eventually, we see the front door open. Roman gave us the signal and we slowly enter his house to not make a sound. We all make our way upstairs, walking past his parents' bedroom to get to our safe haven, Roman's bedroom. Objective 1 was complete. Now we had to complete objective 2, smoke the gas. So how are we gonna do this, man? I've got a spot. He opens his window and walks onto the roof. The three of us get to smoke under the stars as the calm before the storm. A moment of solitude before things take off. Once we're nice and high, we stumble back down to the window, probably almost die, and get back inside. The night was looking good. If we could complete our final objective to play VR, we could call this mission a success. We make our way downstairs and turn on the PlayStation, ready to experience this new world. We didn't want the smell of weed to linger on us, so we spray the Febreze bottle around the living room. But something all wise men know is not to give 3 high kids a bottle of Febreze. Since it's his house, naturally Roman gets first dibs on VR. But as soon as he puts this headset on, we start spraying him all around with the Febreze and watch him helplessly squirm. Before we know it, we had sprayed the entire bottle of Febreze, and this room was so smelly it was completely unlivable. And this headset had speakers built into it too, which is important because Roman didn't realize how loud he was being. He was screaming. We hear a door slam and footsteps coming downstairs. Cole and I had to think fast before whoever was coming downstairs came down and saw us. So me and him run into the closet. Roman has no idea we left him behind because he can't see and can hardly hear. So if we tried to communicate to him, we would have just blown our covers. His mom comes downstairs like, "What the fuck is all this noise? And what's this smell?" Roman takes off the headset to see us gone and he knows he's fucked. We have to listen to Roman get yelled at from this closet and the situation is just awkward. But we couldn't concern ourselves with that because we had larger issues. It was inevitable that Roman's mom would take him up to his room, and that's exactly where the weed was. We had to act fast and somehow get from the closet to Roman's bedroom to out of the house without being detected. Luckily, the Febreze came in clutch because it made his mom stand in the kitchen and not the living room. This allowed us to open the closet door and hug the corner up the stairs undetected. We run to his bedroom and get the weed and we're like, what in God's name do we do now? We couldn't go out the front door. The only escape was through his window and onto the roof. Me and Cole sit out here just talking about how fucked Roman is. Alright, as long as his mom doesn't see us or the weed, we should be good. But what are we supposed to do? Just sit up here all night? Well, at least we have the weed on us. So the two of us, stuck between a mom and a hard place, resort to smoking more. I mean, what else are we gonna do? Some time passes and we see a head poke out the window. Yo, Roman, are you good? But this wasn't Roman. It was actually his dad. The two of us are paralyzed until he talks. Yo, what's up, guys? What are you doing up there? He sees our weed and puts 2 and 2 together. You know what? I used to smoke weed too all the time as a kid. I don't want to freak you guys out. So he uses his dad magic to get us through the house undetected, drives us home, and we get out safe while Roman takes the fall for us. Okay, that's the story. Ring the bell. Bye. Edibles are cheeky little buggers. You never know exactly what you'll get from them. Sometimes you'll eat one and feel nothing. Sometimes you'll eat one and feel everything. And sometimes you'll eat one, think you feel nothing. So you eat another and another until all you feel is pain everywhere. The trick is simply getting them from trustworthy sources and being a little patient with the gummy. But somehow this seems too hard for most people, myself included. I was neither patient nor safe this fateful afternoon, which made for my most intense edible experience ever. Now, this was back in high school, so getting from a reliable source isn't as easy as it is now. Instead of getting the edibles from a dispensary, you have to get them from Howard, a grade above you, that claims he definitely is the Heisenberg of edibles and can cook up the best stuff. It doesn't help that I was surely at the peak of Mount Stupid on the Dunning-Kruger effect curve, where my confidence was at an all-time high with weed and my experience was very low. I was naive in the face of Howard's homemade edibles, so I bought a batch of them after school, took them home for the weekend, and prepared for an epic freaking time while I had the house to myself. You already know, before I ate these, I was was showing them off to the boys. I was like, look at the fresh booty this young boy got his hands on. But I wasn't about wasting time. It was business time. It was time to eat the edibles. I started by just eating one of the 4 I had bought. And right from the moment it touched my tongue, I could taste just how weed infested these brownies were. But I got it down. Then with every passing second, I analyzed how I felt. And when you think about time that hard, it makes it feel like it passes way slower than it actually does. What feels like 30 minutes is actually 10, and what feels like a weak edible is actually a bombshell that hasn't gone off. So I thought, this one should have hit by now. I guess it's just weak. If this is how 1 feels, I can definitely take an extra 2. And we all know how this goes. As all of these edibles hit at once, my body is instantly, essentially paralyzed. I got the cotton mouth of a lifetime, which marked the only time in my life where I wanted water more than pussy, money, or weed. So I just lay here like, god damn, I didn't sign up for this. So I try and roll over to get my phone and text the boys group chat that I was on my deathbed. But my body couldn't roll over without me using 100% of my brain power to do so. As I picked up my phone, it felt insanely heavy. I had the 40-pound iPhone. The phone was just way too heavy for me to pick up, so I was left with one option. I couldn't text. I had to send a voice memo. Yo, guys, this shit is hitting for real. I think I need help. Send over the reinforcements to my place. I'm dying. Which was a pretty funny message to follow from the previous one. So once the message was out, so was I. My body shut down for I don't even know how long. But when I came back into consciousness, it was like I was viewing myself laying in the bed from a third-person view. This didn't last long though, because I got back to my body pretty quickly. But for a moment there, when I saw myself, I thought that I had died and I was leaving my body, but somehow I rationalized myself out of it and thought, there's no way I'm dying. I'm just on a lot of drugs. People always think they're gonna die when they're like this. I don't know how I was able to rationalize myself out of thinking I was dying, considering how high I was, but I guess I'm just the GOAT. I can just do it. So I look over at my phone and I see that Roman is calling me. What's up, bro? Are you good, bro? Partially. Come over to my house though. So we came over with Cole and Adam, and as they rang the doorbell, I was faced with a real dilemma. Shit. How am I gonna let them into my house? So I tried to stand up, but instantly just fell on the ground. I had to crawl on the ground over to the stairs and I just fell down them. I was way too high. There was honestly no other way I could get down, but I was also so high I didn't feel pain from falling down the stairs, so it was all good. I unlocked the door still on the ground with my toes and then just kicked it as hard as I could to let them know they could come in. The 3 of them stood over my lifeless body and asked, bro, are you okay? How do you feel? So I reached into my pocket and I pulled out the last brownie. Boys, eat this. You'll know a fraction of what I've been through if you eat this, but I need water first. So I get my water, and surprisingly the 3 of them just split the brownie and ate it like that. I guess high school boys are just that desperate they go feral at the sight of any free weed. I wanted to be transported to the couch, so I got picked up from my limbs and brought over to the most comfy couch I've ever felt. We turned on the TV and the first channel that was on was Paw Patrol. It was incomprehensible to me. Then I got some of the most devilish munchies in my life. So I postmated Chipotle. But at this time, the 3 of these boys were also starting to feel the munchies. Despite eating that small portion of the brownies, it was hitting them enough. So Adam was like, bro, I'm so hungry. And my high ass replied, oh, me too, don't worry, I'm gonna get Postmates. And I ordered another Chipotle burrito for me and Adam, forgetting that I had ordered the Postmates prior. I guess the group of these 3 guys picked up on this, so they started to get me to order as much Postmates as they could. Once the burritos started coming in, I'm freaking out because I don't understand where all of these orders are coming from. I thought I had discovered a real-life infinite food glitch because 4 different orders and 7 different burritos were delivered to my house. house. But alas, it was just my friends sucking me dry of every cent I have. So we got all of our burritos, brought them in a big pile, we held our hands around the burritos, and we prayed for this meal. We prayed to God and thanked him for this bountiful feast we had. And with that, there were two extreme lessons I learned this night. Don't buy edibles from Howard, and don't trust your friends. They will try and get as many burritos out of you as they can. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. Smoking alone can lead to so many different experiences. Unlike smoking with others, where the dynamic of the group's collective synergy determines the vibe, that vibe is up to you and whatever's going on up in that thick head of yours. In my case, my brain wants to do 5 different things all at once, and I end up led down strange rabbit holes. Just look at this clip I found once.
It's extremely creepy to think about the fact that Mario may be facing a purgatory where he has to face the loss of everyone he failed to protect.
Anyways, during my last late night solo session, I decided to track everything I did in my notes app. So here's what I wrote about the journey. Once I began my high, I realized, yo, I bought this projector the other day just for an occasion like this. So I turned it on and sat in my big chair. I did what I do every time, and I played Snowfall by One Heart on my Alexa. I had created a nice little setting for myself, so I sat back, looked at the ceiling, and existed in it. Then thoughts came over me. I started to have evil thoughts corrupting my mind. The demons were taking over quickly, so before they had a chance to overcome me, I went on my iPhone SE and opened YouTube. The first video that came up on my recommended was called The Quiet Sadness of Mario Galaxy. And after my demonic ordeal, I thought to myself, that's just like me, I gotta watch this one. But as I clicked on the video, I got an advertisement for Pizza Hut's new melts and instantly forgot about everything else. In this moment, all I wanted was to taste these delicious, cheesy new Pizza Hut melts. They looked so unequivocally delicious. All other foods paled in comparison to the melt's greatness. So I clicked on the ad, which sent me to a screen that asked me to make a Pizza Hut account to continue. I tried for like 10 minutes to make an account to no avail, until I saw there was a guest option. But if you're a guest, you still can't order Pizza Hut. God damn it, I can't take this anymore, I'm using Postmates. And then I suddenly got an earth-shattering text message from Roman. Bad news, y'all. My parents are getting a divorce and my dad's in jail. Oh no. Do not fret. Little did I know this message was a bit of a troll. If I had just looked at the message above it that read, Roman, save my divorce voice recordings, I could have pieced it together, but I didn't. The big dog Cole was running a meme sending Roman voice recordings pretending to be his father, saying he was getting a divorce. But again, I didn't realize this. How did this happen? I need to call him. Bro, explain this to me. Yeah, my parents are getting a divorce. My dad's in jail. Really? Yep, he's in jail, rotting and divorced. Well, he didn't seem too bothered by that. Oh god, I'm so hungry. I need that Postmates. I had finally ordered the elusive melts, and while waiting for them, I decided to go back and watch that Mario video. I got probably 1 minute exactly into my viewing until my eyes cheekily shifted down to the first recommended video, being one of those house building process videos. This joint will hit right now, sheesh. As you can imagine, it didn't take long for my brain to start thinking something else. I bet I could build a house. Why don't I just build one right now? I'll play Minecraft and show this guy he could only dream to build a house as good as me. I turned on the PS4 to see the game disc wasn't in, and I'd have to get up from my chair to solve this problem. So I just sat there and did nothing. This allowed my demons, corruption, and evil sludge to coat my mind once again with its wickedness until... Pizza time! Pizza time! Forgetting the existentialism, I instantly ran to the door to acquire the payload. It seems it was just a little too fast though, because as soon as I opened the door... Thanks. It was finally time. The moment we'd all been waiting for. All the blood, sweat, and tears were about to finally pay off in this massive climax of an event. This looks so good. Holy. I took the first bite of the most heavenly food on the face of the planet. It was exactly what the commercial had promised. This melt was quite literally busting in my mouth with every delicate and cheesy bite I took. I devoured the entire thing in roughly 1 minute on my beast mode savagery, and then threw myself back into the big chair. I was finally determined this time to finish the Mario video. I wasn't about to let anything stop me. So as I unlocked my phone, I saw it was still on that house making video, and I remembered Minecraft was waiting for me. But this time, I was changed. After devouring such a great melt, I was feeling formidable and brave enough to get up and put Minecraft into the PS4. I perfectly executed the operation, loaded up a new world, and after 20-something minutes, I made myself the most generic wooden plank house imaginable. Feeling pretty good about this, I opened my phone again, disliked the house building video in an act of ownage and deviosity. Then I got back to my Mario video. Realizing how awesome I was, I felt I couldn't fully relate to the themes of this video as well as 30 minutes ago me would have. But regardless, I watched the whole thing and only paid attention to the visuals and the music since it was all very cute. It was just so nice seeing all of these bright colors and peering into the endless depths of space while listening to the music that by the end of it, I was feeling a tad sleepy. I stumbled my way back to my bed and lay down. As I was falling asleep, I felt as though I myself was drifting through space just like the Mario man himself. It was truly serene. Okay, that's the video. Subscribe. You know the drill. I get dangerously high by myself, track everything I do on my notes app, and tell the story of the actual brain-rotting activities I get up to. But this time, there's a little twist. Before I got high, I texted my boys group chat to ruin me tonight. They could call me, text me, or just send whatever heinous dung they can at any time throughout the night that would mess with me or just make a funny moment. So here's what happened. After eating my special gummies, the first thing I wrote down in my notes was watermelon with no melon. I guess I found this video so impressive, I just had to share it. Anyways, let me set a scene for you. As the gummies came into effect, the first thought I had to myself was, I want my big Oreos. So I walk myself downstairs into my dimly lit kitchen, fill my favorite coffee mug with warm milk, and start solemnly munching on these porcelain big Oreos, one intimate bite at a time. As it turns out, I only had 3 Oreos in my bag, which left me with a real problem. I got no more Oreos, but so much milk. Without thinking, I trotted up from my seat, walked over to my little tree, and poured my milk into the soil as if it was water. It took me a minute to mentally process that I had given a tree milk until it finally hit me. Wait, no. Trees can't have milk. That's my favorite tree. What have I done? In tears, I frantically search on Google. What happens if a tree drinks milk? After a long search, I learned that milk is actually good for plants. Not just milk is good, but spoiled milk is too. It's actually a good way of making bad milk useful, so that was kind of interesting. Now I'm sitting here thinking about milk. I can't fully explain the thought process behind this moment, but I brought my ass over to YouTube and searched top 10 milk. And just watch this. Why is it so loud? Why would this be the intro to top 10 milk? Anyways, the first milk was Safeway, which isn't even milk, it's a grocery store. But I used to work there, so I commented, so helpful, plus I love Safeway. This comment was a little premature though, because after giving such praise 10 seconds into the video, I decided to skip to the end to see what is the world's greatest milk. This was a terrible mistake that turned all my praise into pure unadulterated rage. They said the best milk is Borden. Are you joking? You have to be smoking crack to genuinely believe Borden is the best milk there is. So rationally, I replied to my original comment with a nasty and hateful reply. As I hit send on the comment, my messages start getting spammed with a constant influx of this deranged dog image coming in from 5 separate people. There had been an organized attack on my iPhone messages, and the dinging wouldn't stop until I got a phone call from someone with no caller ID. I pick up the phone. Hello? And this is exactly what I heard back. Is this Borden? Do I need to repent? Do I need to repent for the sins that I spoke on your milk, Borden? And before there was a reply, my phone crashed from the constant dog images that were still going through that whole time. Holy shit, I made a terrible mistake. But then, as if God's light came shining down at me in my darkest time, as I turned turned my phone back on, the image of the dog had changed. He was so happy now, grinning ear to ear. It was a beautiful sight. Seeing him smile back at me gave me such a sigh of relief. So I felt I'd treat myself to a little Chipotle queso. I ordered from Postmates and the driver's name was Quentin, and I promise you this is a detail that comes back. As I'm waiting for my Postmates, I go back on YouTube to see something that truly pissed me off. The video was called Strongest Energy Drinks Comparison, which I thought sounded pretty cool. I was interested in what the world's strongest energy drink was. I click on the video and every single energy drink has 320 milligrams of caffeine. Like, it does not stop. The drinks just keep going and they never change. I keep thinking to myself, oh, the next one's gotta be stronger. It's not gonna be 320 milligrams of caffeine, and it never is. I was blown away by the asinine shit this video was, so much so that I left a hate comment. And then I got a neighborhood watch alert from the Ring app that there was a shooting nearby. This was one of the best things that had happened to me this night because it gave me a great idea. If you didn't know, the Ring app has a feature where you can create a post that gets sent out to every single person that has the app in a multiple mile wide radius. I had never done this before, but just the thought to have that much power, sending a direct message to so many people at once, seemed a little too good to be true. But I wanted to figure out if I could do it, if it was possible. First, I would have to figure out what the post was going to be. I thought back to everything that had happened to me this night. That dog with the massive grin, the Postmates driver named Quentin. Everything came together as I uploaded the dog image and gave it the title Dog Acquired and made my masterpiece. Dog alert, we found Quentin. Thank you everyone that helped look for Quentin, but you can finally stop because the search is over. Here he is, happy as ever now that he's home and safe. He must have gone on quite the adventure. I thought this post seemed pretty believable, and so did the people working for Ring, since my post made it through the auto moderation and was sent out to the public. This was a massive success. Not gonna lie, I felt pretty awesome after pulling off the Quentin scheme, so I went upstairs and ate more of my gummies. This would ultimately feed into a dark cycle though, because once I started playing Fortnite, in between every game, I would forget that I had eaten a gummy and I would go for more. I don't know how many of these I ended up having, but I had enough that I tragically forgot the Chipotle queso waiting for me at the door that the real Quentin had delivered for me so graciously. I was just like Drake off these gummies because after I ate all of them, I was out like a light. And that's the end of the story. Subscribe. Bye. At one point, we've all consumed more substances than we can take and lost some sort of bodily function. Whether that's the loss of literal control over your body or the loss of your mind, so you just act on all of your primal monkey thoughts. Either way, something is lost. So even if this story is the highest I've ever been, if you've watched me for long enough, you'll know that the only thing that I lose is my shame. I have an ability to hard body substances without ever dropping. So at least originally, this night was going to be planned as a mushroom trip between me, Roman, Adam, and Roderick. And I'll just skip the scene setting because I know you just want to see the drugs. So me and Roman pick up 6 grams of shrooms, stop by the Holy Land for snacks, arrive at Adam's luxurious estate, and get inside to prepare for the Ninja content farm. Also, Cameron was there too, so let's not forget about him. Round of applause for Cameron, although he was going to be sober and exclusively doing homework on his MacBook this night. So you got the stuff, my brethren? Yeah, bro, I got it right here. Let's just bust this bad boy open. We got gypped, and the plug only gave us 4 grams, so the 4 of us ended up only eating 1 each. Right after eating these mushrooms, Adam, Roderick, and Roman ran off to probably smoke, but me, I'm more reserved than that. I made the respectable decision to stay back and help Cameron with his homework, and it wasn't because I like him or anything. So me and him bust through a good chunk of these questions until these words start to become a little hard to read, and these mushrooms are making my belly feel a little queasy. Those 3 goons that left before bust through the door and instantly and simultaneously start explaining how the mushrooms feel to Cameron for some reason. It's really cool, bro. It makes me feel really cool. Yeah, it's awesome, bro. It feels superfluously awesome. It makes me feel alive. It makes me want to take someone's life. In between my upset tummy and the juxtaposition from solo Cameron time, it felt like I got punched. Boys, I want to do homework right now. For Frick you, bro. Fuck off, bro. What are you talking about? I was being bullied. You know what? I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Oh my god. Despite us all having just 1 gram each, they were enough. These were some strong guys. As I had that moment to myself and overcame the queasy, I left the bathroom and everyone was gone. Although, I heard faint music from the porch. As I walked out, I see these 4 are smoking a big dog style cigar in the snow outside, and Cameron was making beats in Logic Pro. Ooh, there's the big homework, baby. What'd you do in the bathroom, bro? Put a diaper on? Did you put a diaper on in the bathroom? Fuck homework, bro. Check this out. This was my snapping point. My friends were relentlessly bullying me, and I had to do something now to redeem the great Ninja name I was known for. Give me that cigar, boys. Check this out. Damn, bro, you're not supposed to inhale it. This didn't exactly hit the way I thought it would, but in this moment, a shining opportunity presented itself. Who wants weed, boys? So all of us, minus Cameron, scurry our little feet downstairs, into the garage, and hop in Adam's classic weed Porsche. Adam pulls out the big dog Bong, and I knew this was the time. This was the moment I would fully redeem my stained legacy and go down a legend. I got handed the Bong first, and as I held it, all my memories flashed through me like visions. When Roderick called me a homework baby, when Roman said I wore diapers, it would all be sanctified in this moment. I lit up, and as I'm sucking on this bong, I don't let go. I take the biggest bong rip of my life until my lung capacity can't take a single more milliliter of smoke. As I exhaled, the entire car is filled with smoke, and I'm coughing like Walter White. This shit hearted. Afterward, I just lay down in the back of the car while my body recovered. The bong was passed around a few rotations, but I couldn't take any more, so I just waited until we all finally got out. And once I stood up, I realized how high I was. So as we all stumble back to the bedroom, I go up to Cameron and I ask him, "Bro, let me see the laptop, bro." I had a golden joke cooking. I sit down with Roman in an attempt to open Google Images, search for Patrick Bateman, and my joke was gonna be that I said that was Cameron doing his homework. But I only got to search Patrick in the search bar before I hit enter, which brought up Patrick's star, which had this image from an Amazon link to a Funko Pop that the two of us found a lot funnier than the original joke would have been. But then I took it further by clicking on the image, bringing me to Amazon where I bought it. I bought the Funko from Cameron's laptop on his account with his card and shipped it to his parents' house. I was on fire. I was in my element here. Then Adam brings out the vodka and I'm chugging that thing like a Division I football player. Then Adam brings out the canned wine and I'm chugging those things like a Division I football player. I had completed the holy trinity of substances: earth, water, fire, but I was missing air. And I don't normally do this, but I start ripping Roderick's vape. And with all these substances combined into me, I was just like Avatar Aang. I guess my mind was still on SpongeBob because I really wanted Cameron to play the outro song from SpongeBob on his MacBook. But the video Cameron brought up wasn't just the SpongeBob outro. It was, I put the SpongeBob outro over the end of humanity. And as soon as this video came up, I had another golden bit to come to me. One that would even top the Funko Pop one. Cameron, hold your laptop up so that everyone can see. Boys, this video is something I've worked very hard on over the past few years, and I'm so happy to finally have it come to fruition. You didn't make that, bro. That's a YouTube video. They want you to believe that. But let me continue. As you know, my YouTube channel has grown at an extremely fast rate recently, and I wanted to celebrate the monumental achievement of 200,000 subscribers with a celebration that's fitting. So I've planted 200,000 bombs across New York City, and what you're seeing now is live drone footage broadcasted from my channel. But it's not just New York. The more subscribers I get, the more bombs I plant, until even we are engulfed by fire and explosion. It's just my way of saying thank you for all of the support I've received thus far. As you can imagine, that bit killed it. I could confidently say that my name was saved from the disaster of earlier that night. I walked out of the room and into Adam's library, basking in glory. Like I said, he has a luxurious estate. He has a library. And still vaping, I sit on his oversized reading throne until I passed out for the night. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye!